Good morning, everybody. Today's gonna be a little bit different. Usually we start our days off up at the hog barns choring the pigs, but today we're gonna start at the grain bins. Our bean bin is getting close to empty. We've been selling beans here and there ever since harvest because the price has honestly just been so good. We figured, we might as well sell a little bit at the top. We have a whole nother bin full of beans. This one's getting down to the nitty gritty. So we're gonna just go down there and we're gonna have to probably start scooping.
Hey, not quite that far.
There's nothing worse than opening it up too far. Belts wear. The belts start making that noise. Eventually, the whole thing just shuts down. But it's all right. We've done this many times. Dad has gotten greedy. Then we do a little bit of sitting, just like I'm doing right now.
You gotta chew out the indentured servant.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to come here and load corn. But you see, I got you by the balls. You chew me worse than I chew you.
I'm getting back at you for all the chewing I got when I was a kid.
Well, that molded you into the outstanding individual that you are today. So actually, you should thank me. Sure wish I would have cleaned up the rotten beans from the last time I had to do this. I'm also really glad that I put the start-stop button on this side of the auger. That was smart. Genius.
Okay, back at it.
At least it wasn't 90 degrees when we were scooping beans, and we still got a load left, so I can speculate on my last load of beans. I'll wait till it hits the high, and then I'll sell it and tell everybody I sold my beans for that price. I don't know, this isn't bad. I think we got $10.53 for these, and so that's a decent price. I mean, it's one of those things. We're basically feeding 3 generations off of this farm. There's always something that needs paid. So with my mom, she's in a retirement home, and so I rent the ground from her and basically pay her cash rent to pay for her care at the retirement home. And then, we're living here, and then Sawyer's living here. So there's never a shortage of bills. You may not be able to always speculate and try to sell and hit the high because sometimes you just got to pay the bills. And so we're getting down to the end of the year, and we got stuff that needs paid, so it was a good price, so we sold it. We're gonna sit on more of the corn, and like I said, we're down to 1 load of beans, and that's just for bragging rights. There's never a shortage of things that need to be fixed or bought or paid, so you always got to be moving your money.
So now that that's done, we got the beans loaded up for the day. We're starting at my barn first because these guys are the youngest pigs, and Dad and I are gonna make our daily chore rounds. With these being the littlest pigs, we're gonna put a little bit more time and effort up here because baby pigs, to be completely honest with you, just take a lot more work. You gotta be conscious of always looking through your pigs, pulling pigs if they fall back, spot treating pigs if they look sick, because when they get older, you don't really treat pigs. You don't want any antibiotics to be in their system when they go to market. How do you think the pigs like the wet drives?
I think they love them. I'm actually surprised at how fast they take to them, and I turned the water on to these this morning, and I don't know, these have been here 10 days?
No.
Longer? 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
I wasn't planning on turning the water on this soon, but we experimented with a couple of pens, and they go right to it, and they don't run too much, and I really think that they love how when they go up to that trough, they can see through to the other side. And I think it's kind of the same principle as our snap-in round feeders. I think that they just like the social side of being able to see through and see a pig on the other side and know somebody else is there. I don't know, but I'm really happy with them. They are really taking to them good.
So we're gonna probably go ahead and mat feed these guys for a month. We typically mat feed a little bit longer than probably most people do. And the reason we do that is just, we really wanna make sure that these pigs get started off right. And we just wanna get them used to eating the feed as much as we possibly can before we stop mat feeding. This south room, we filled this first, so we'll stop mat feeding them before we stop mat feeding the north room. Probably another week or so, and then we'll stop completely. Now I'm in the north room of my barn, and as you can see, we have a lot of empty pens on this north half here. And that's because when we filled this barn, we put about 60 pigs to a pen because we thought that that would even out and we'd be able to fill up all the pens that we got. But turns out we didn't get all the pigs that we thought we were gonna get. So now what we're gonna have to go ahead and do to fill up these pens, because we want everybody to have the even amount of space. We don't just want these pens to sit empty. We're gonna go through all the pens we got in both rooms and pull probably the 3 smallest pigs out of every pen.
Just taking the smallest, or if there's a pig, even if it's a bigger pig, like if its backbone showing.
That's what I've been doing.
That's what I'm doing.
What are you doing here, Dad?
Making breakfast, make a little gruel. So I just take some feed. I actually got a little too much. I'm gonna put a little more pellet in it. So I take the starter feed out of the feeder, which is our first ration, and then I put a little what we call nursery 2, which is just a little bit, I guess you'd call it hotter, sweeter. It's got a little more milk in it. Anyway, I make a nice, we call that gruel, and the pigs like it. And so the pigs that are in our hospital pens or fallback pens, they really like feed that's wet like that. So I'll put it in those red snap-in feeders, and it kind of entices some of the ones that are timid that don't want to go maybe eat the dry feed. They'll eat this, and then once they eat this, they'll decide that the dry feed's pretty good. And then throw some on the mat. And you really can't you really can't overfeed this. This is probably more than what they'll eat in one sitting, but what they don't eat, the bigger ones definitely will eat. So
at this point, all the pigs that look like they're the smallest or look like they're fallbacks are out in both rooms. So we're just gonna take 4 pigs out of every pen now, and we're gonna run them into the north room and fill those pens up. I like doing this better because you don't have to run around like a chicken with your head cut off and try to figure out what's the smallest pig or pick up 3 pigs. You can just open the gate, run 4 pigs out, shut the gate, go to the next pen, so on and so forth. That pig needs a shot.
Just grab it.
I got 4. One, 2, 3. All right, so as you guys can see, we got this whole north side of this north room all filled up. Took 4 pens out of every single pen in both rooms, and the math actually turned out to be right. Usually we gotta do a recount or gotta refigure our numbers, but this time went all right. 1 empty pen right here, and then this pen right here is gonna be a rump pen as well. So these 2 pens will be rump pens, Those 2 pens will be fallback pens. Then we got 2 more fallback pens in the south room that we'll use for runts too. So runts and fallbacks and hospital pens all mean the same thing. We just kind of say different things for it. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. We're gonna go down and chore the rest of the sites. If anything interesting happens, we'll be sure to show you guys. But when the pigs are big like that, you don't have to do a whole lot for chores. They got feed all the time, they got water all the time. You gotta really just check, make sure nothing's messed up or there isn't any deceased pigs in the pen. And then other than that, you just do your best to make sure everything is okay. So that's what we're gonna go do right now.